Good morning, everybody. I hope you are doing well. Today's video, we are going to be doing something a little bit different. My daughter is here with me. Throughout the video today, I'm going to be chatting about how I manage my mental health as a mother, as a wife, as someone who has PTSD and has struggled with depression, anxiety. I say all of these things just because I think it, is important to note when we think about managing mental health, what we are managing. So yeah, today I'm going to be talking about mental health, how I manage it in the winter, but specifically just all year long as well. It's still going to be a vlog style, but just every time I'm talking, it's going to be focused around that. I'll still let you know like what we're doing and everything as well. But yeah, we're gonna chat about mental health and managing our mental health. It's something that I'm personally very, very passionate about. But I'm about to do the first thing that I attempt to do every single day, and that is my gratitude journal. My gratitude journal has made one of the biggest changes in my life. I know that so many people say you should do it or it gets so like publicized, and I always thought like that's not gonna make that big a difference. Like people are being dramatic, or those are people that are just already really positive, grateful people. But truly, my gratitude journal has rewired and reshaped huge parts of my brain. And I was talking with my therapist about it, and she basically just confirmed it. She said, yeah, gratitude journaling is amazing, and it can really change the chemical makeup of our brain and the way our neurons are wired. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and attempt to do my gratitude journal with this little wiggle worm on me before my sun comes down and before my coffee is cold. Will the stars align to make all of those things happen? We will see. We will see.
Oh, I can hear Oscar. Girl, you just chilling. Girl, you just chilling like Dylan. Please?
You can't have Mama's phone, and you know it. And just in case you were wondering, is it normally that chaotic when she tries to write in this? I would say, truthfully, about 50% of the time. 50% of the time I get lucky, and she's playing, my son is playing, and I get to just write in it. The other 50% of the time, she or he is freaking out on me, and I still just really try to do it, even if it's not the headspace I want for it. This is the season of life I'm in. Sometimes you just gotta do the best with what you're given, right, Sissy? So, yeah. All right, it's a little bit later. I am making breakfast right now, and so I just kind of wanted to chat through my gratitude journal, and then maybe I'll show it to you a little bit later. But yeah, I started doing a gratitude journal 3 years ago, maybe, when I was in therapy. My therapist suggested it, and then I really got into it maybe 4 years ago, and then I really got into it about 3 years ago. In the beginning, I was really struggling with depression, and I was in therapy, and my therapist had suggested it, and she, I kind of was like, oh, I don't know, I was just very skeptical of if it would actually work, especially when you're in that deep state of depression where I was. I don't know, I just was very skeptical. So I tried it, but I was kind of non-committal about it. Like I said, then about 3 years ago, I really just decided, I'm going to give this a shot. My husband is a very positive individual, and he also just, always talks about how it's just about choosing to be positive, choosing to have that state of mind. And as someone who was pretty cynical, I would say, I don't know, I just had a hard time believing him, but I just decided I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to do this gratitude journal and we'll just see where it takes me. And I kid you not, it changed my life. And you can ask people in my life, I mention it, all the time. I think it's a really small thing that you can do that really does change the neural pathways in your mind. Like, I've found it so much easier to reframe a situation, refocus my mind on the good. It's a lot harder for me to complain because my mind is just immediately like, yeah, that bad thing happened, but what about this good thing? Because for every bad thing that's happening, there's a myriad of good things that are happening that we just take for granted. Our brain is heightenedly aware of the bad, and this is evolutionary, right? Like, it's because that's how we're supposed to protect ourselves. Back in the hunter-gatherer times, that would have really been important to make sure that you were really noticing the bad, really noticing the things that could be dangerous. But nowadays it's less true, but we're still so aware of it. And so a gratitude journal, for me at least, my daughter scratched me, helps to reframe things and helps your mind refocus on the good instead of hyper fixating on all those small bad things that happen, sometimes big bad things. But yeah, just being grateful for things that we take for granted all the time changed my life, changed my mind, I would say I'm a way more positive individual. My overall happiness is so much higher. So yeah, if I could suggest one thing, it would be that. Do a gratitude journal every day and it'll change your life. It has changed mine, especially in the winter when it can be hard. We're getting the winter blues, the winter uglies. Gratitude journal. There's still so much to be grateful for. And I think a lot of times we're just lazy. We're lazy and we don't want to do the work to think of it. I'm talking to myself as well. So yeah, I would highly recommend trying a gratitude journal. I cannot recommend it enough. So that's my first, what I do to manage my mental health as a mother is just remembering that there is so much to be thankful for. Along the topic of things to be grateful for, I'm very excited to eat my breakfast today. I got avocados the last time I was at Costco, and I just love avocados, but I never get them, so I'm very excited. Alfred, my son, Alfie, also loves avocados, so he's very excited to eat this for breakfast. Okay, now my next tip is your nutrition matters. Your body matters. And so we need to make sure that we're eating, we're getting proper vitamins, we're getting proper minerals. It really makes a huge difference to our overall health, our mood, our mental health, our day-to-day health, our long-term health, everything, when we are properly fed, properly nourished. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I am not a nutritionist, but just make sure you're nourishing your body. I'm making myself a little electrolyte. This is half orange juice, half water, ginger, potassium in the form of cream of tartar, and I'm going to put a little sea salt for some good electrolytes. And I'm just making sure I stay hydrated. So yeah, nourish yourself. Take care of your body. It matters. You matter.
Okay, I am making a little matcha. Okay, I'm making a little matcha and then I'm gonna read. My daughter is asleep, so I'm gonna read to my son, drink my matcha, but I figured while I was making it, I would chat. So another thing that I personally do to prioritize my own mental health is I have to do something creative. Sometimes this is writing, sometimes it is drawing, sometimes it's anything creative. There's so many options out there. Sometimes it's embroidering, sometimes it's sewing. But I have to be doing something creative. I have to have an outlet for my creativity or I start to feel very pent up. Now, all of these things that I'm saying, I'm looking at my matcha that I'm making. For years, I wasn't purposeful about any of them. They just sort of came and went as I had time, as I prioritized them, so forth and so on. But to be kind of vulnerable, in 2020, I had a bit of I guess we'll call it a mental breakdown. I was as depressed as I've ever been, and I was at the lowest point I've ever been. And I actually ended up in the hospital on a suicide watch. And so I was in there for five days. And I'm pretty open about this in general because I think a lot of people are struggling with mental health, depression, suicidal thoughts and things, and we don't talk about them enough. So yeah, I was in the hospital for 6 days and it was such a wake-up call for me. While I was in there, I was diagnosed with, I had already been, but I was re-diagnosed with PTSD, severe depressive disorder, and there's reasons for all of this, of course, but I don't know, being in that hospital, having that wake-up call, I just realized that I really wanted to take my mental health seriously. I wanted to take my life seriously, and I wanted to change. So for me, that meant realizing there are certain things that I just have to do to keep myself happy, to keep myself feeling sane. And so that's just what I'm talking about today. Another big thing, and we may or may not actually get to do this today because of the fact that my daughter is napping again, but is movement, walking, exercising, but I don't necessarily exercise. For me, I prefer walks and hikes, and I do like exercise, but I just have 2 babies until right now. Let's see what really, I think I'm not wearing white. I guess what I'm trying to get at is after being hospitalized, I wanted to stop being a victim to my circumstances, a victim to my mental health, and I wanted to take charge of it. And so for me, that meant just owning that there are certain things I have to do, certain things I have not to do, certain things I need to say yes to, certain things I need to say no to keep myself sane and happy and healthy, because it's not selfish to take care of ourselves. It's selfish not to, in my opinion. Obviously, there's a selfish way to go about anything, but it's not selfish just inherently to take care of yourself. So, for example, art. This is one of the things that I am working on right now. I just draw circles every day and I have to turn them into some sort of doodle. This is, as a mom, a really easy way for me to make sure I'm doing something creative. This is a new thing that I'm doing, but I always do something creative. These YouTube videos, I actually started making them because I needed a creative outlet. So yeah, we'll chat more later, but yeah, do something creative. I'm gonna go finish this matcha and then I'm gonna go read to my baby. It's much later, but another thing that really helps me manage my mental health is keeping my physical space clean and decluttered, because I find that when my physical space is cluttered and messy, my brain feels cluttered and messy and overwhelmed. So I really build in time throughout my day to clean because I know that it will make me feel better. Same thing, I always reset the house before I go to bed, even if I'm exhausted. Because I just know I need need it going into the next day. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the dishes here, and then we're gonna chat a little bit later, kind of wrap up, finalize, finish these thoughts. So, all right, I'm gonna do these dishes. Okay, the babies are asleep, so I want to close this video here, just chatting really quick. Sorry about the harsh lighting, but it's late. Yeah, so mental health is just something I'm really passionate about in general, and I'm really passionate about in my own life because I've seen what a difference it makes when we start taking control of it and taking it seriously. So I mentioned earlier in the video that I had a bit of a, what I'll call a mental breakdown in 2020. I was hospitalized, I was on a suicide watch, and that was a turning point for me. It really was rock bottom. And I came out of that experience, thankfully, with a real desire to change and to live and to find joy. So I did a couple of things that I have continued doing since. For one, I was already in therapy before this experience in my life, but I, really dove headfirst into therapy after that. I decided I wanted to figure out what were my demons and I wanted to work through them. I wanted to pour myself into healing my mind, changing my brain chemistry, and therapy was a huge part of that for me. I put a lot of hours, a lot of money, a lot of time into therapy, and I had an amazing therapist. I worked with her, still do, but I used to go weekly, at one point twice a week for 5 years. So yeah, therapy, I can't recommend it enough. And I don't think you only need to go to therapy if you're on the verge of a breakdown. Therapy is just such a wonderful tool for working through our mind and working through our thoughts. So yeah, therapy I can't advocate for enough. Like I already mentioned in this video, being creative, finding a creative outlet is huge, at least for me, for my personality, for my mental health. I need to have a creative outlet. I need to have something that I am doing to pour into that is outside of myself. So creativity, movement, moving your body is huge for me. Again, this is just my experience. Moving your body, going for walks, going for hikes, exercise, it's another thing that I don't stop doing because I know it makes me feel better. I live in the Midwest. It's really cold here. We get a lot of snow. And I used to let that keep me indoors, and it used to make me just really grumpy. And now it doesn't faze me. I will be outside tromping around in my snowsuit because I know it makes me feel better. And again, kind of going back to the point I made earlier, I'm not a victim of my circumstances anymore. I don't let myself have a victim mentality because for me, I knew I was losing all my power. I was losing all my agency when I just said oh, it's cold, so I can't. No, it's cold, so I won't. It's cold, so I won't go on a walk. But I can. I have the power. And again, I just stopped being a victim to everything in my life, and it really changed so much of me. I'm going to end on this topic because I think, obviously, there's no one-size-fits-all for mental health. And if anything, I hope that this just gave you some ideas of things to do and some inspiration that if somebody that was in as dark a place as me, as I was, can come so far. Hopefully, if you're struggling with mental health, this encourages you that there is hope, there is light on the other end, because there was a point in my life where I did not want to be alive. And I mean that so sincerely, right? I'm not just saying it. There was a point in my life where I did not want to be here. And now I want to be here. I'm so truly happy. I love my life. I love the life I am creating. I love what I see for my life. I am so, so happy. But it didn't just happen. I think it's easy to think oh yeah, but if I was as lucky as that person, if things just worked out for me. It was a lot of work. It was a ton of mental work. It was a ton of time in therapy, choosing to work through those inner demons, those skeletons in the closet, those things that I knew were affecting me. And so I hope this just encouraged someone that we have a lot of power, and by God's grace, you can overcome. Alrighty, I feel like I'm hopefully gonna like this video as I'm editing it. I don't know, guys, I'm still new at this, and I'm just gonna post, even if it's not perfect, just hear my heart. I know that it's not as easy as 1, 2, 3, but if I can do it, someone that was hospitalized on a suicide watch, completely hopeless, has some pretty severe trauma and PTSD, I think you can do it too. So try to be healthy, folks. Be mentally healthy, be physically healthy. Start a gratitude journal if that's the only thing you get from this. My gratitude journal changed my life. I love my gratitude journal. So thanks so much for watching, everybody. I really, really do appreciate every view. If you made it this far, wow. Alrighty. Thanks so much, everybody. Bye-bye.